So many of my clients can bench press 3 plates since they started working with me. Kyle benches 3 plates. Peter benches 3 plates. Nash benches 3 plates. Darius bench 4.5 plates. And before you make an excuse, I coach a 67-year-old man who is closing in on a 3-plate bench. What's your excuse? Most of my lifters came to me from exactly the same place that you're at right now. They followed generic cookie cutter programs like 5x5, 5-3-1, Texas Method, or something similar. They did a bunch of hard, heavy sets. They tried to force weight on the bar every single week. When they plateaued, they didn't know what changes to make to get progress moving again, and they got stuck for years. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do step by step to bench press 3 plates so that you can get there in half the time that it took us and learn from all of our mistakes. If you don't have time to watch this entire video and go and apply the principles, click the top link in the description if you want me to just coach you to a 3-plate bench personally, or a second link if you just want some good bench press programs to go and follow. So your current approach has not been working. You're not at a 3-plate bench yet and you don't see a clear path to get there. Instead of wasting a bunch more time trying to do it on your own, just switch your brain off. Listen to exactly what I'm going to tell you in this video step by step, and I promise it will save you a bunch of time on your way to getting a 3-plate bench. Here is exactly what to do if you want to get there. Thing number 1, bench more often. You're not going to get there benching once or twice a week for most of you watching this video. I would recommend that you bench 3 or 4 times a week. This is by far the biggest component of bench press success I've seen amongst my clients. I've coached hundreds of people, and 3 or 4 times a week has been the frequency that works. Now, if you're instantly thinking, I can't bench that much, that is going to beat my shoulders up and stuff like that, probably because you think that you need to bench press heavy and hard every single time that you bench, and you don't. So if you're currently doing 2 bench press sessions a week, and they're both pretty hard, pretty heavy, take those 2 sessions, scale the intensity down. So say they're like a 10 out of 10 stress right now, scale them down to like a 5 or a 6, and then add in 1 or 2 more sessions. Then magically you're able to bench more frequently because you dial the intensity down a little bit. So a typical way I like to set this up, we have a heavy primary bench press day. This is like a top single and some back off work. Then we'll have a secondary day, which is volume focused, so it might be a bunch of 5s. And then the other 2 exposures are going to be something a little bit lighter. So depending on your tolerance would kind of dictate how I would set this up. But if you're new to benching 3 or 4 times a week, one of them might be like a long pulls bench for just a couple light triples. The other one might be a flat dumbbell press or like an incline bench press, something that's lighter and less specific again. Then you've got 3 or 4 times a week benching, and you can kind of adjust based on tolerance. If you feel like you're not recovering, you can stay with 3 times. If you feel like you're doing great, stick with 4 times and keep pushing it. Thing number 2, bench press responds well to a lot of heavy top sets, a lot of peak intensity. So on the squat and the deadlift, we probably can't train them super heavy like 3-4 times a week. It would be a bit too much for most people. On the bench press, people tend to do well with multiple exposures to like heavy top sets. So you might be able to do a top single on the bench press like 3 times a week or even 4 times a week. I've got some lifters who will do like their heavy primary single, secondary day they have a single at like an RPE 5 or 6. Their tertiary day might have a single at 5 or 6 as well. The bench press tends to respond really well to a lot of peak intensity because it's a relatively light movement compared to the squat and the deadlift, so you can recover a little bit more easily from it. And it just builds a lot of confidence to be doing heavy singles like throughout the week quite frequently. So a way I'll often set this up is we have the primary day, which might do a single at like RPE 7 or 8. And then the secondary and the tertiary might have a lighter single at like RPE 5 or 6. It's heavy enough for skill practice and to practice like low velocity skill production, but it's not so heavy that you take on like a big fatigue cost from doing it. So feel free to practice like regular heavy top sets throughout the week. Do it based on tolerance. Like don't just jump into 4 times a week singles. Maybe start out with 2 and then see how you do, and you can obviously add more in. Thing number 3, I would recommend you do your volume work in the 65 to 75% range. A lot of you are doing like 80, 85%. You're grinding like really slow, heavy reps. Leaves you feeling beat up and under recovered. And that's probably why you think that you're not able to bench like 3 or 4 times a week. You actually can, you just need to scale the intensity down a bit. So I like 65 to 75% for sets of 4 to 6 reps. For most of you, this is going to have you leaving probably like 4, 5, 6, even more reps in the tank. And you might be thinking like, is that even enough to get me stronger? Yes, it is. A lot of you have this mindset that like those really hard, slow, grindy reps are the ones getting you strong. They're actually not. So we're training for a 1 rep max, right? A 1 rep max is a test of force production. Force is mass times acceleration, okay? A lot of you are forgetting this acceleration component of that formula. You think that the really slow, grindy reps are the ones getting you strong. They're actually not, because there's no acceleration component. Like, it's not as specific to a 1 rep max. The reps earlier in the set where you're producing more force, the bar is moving more quickly, are actually more specific because there is more force actually being exerted, so it's more specific to a 1 rep max. So you right now think the heavy, slow, grindy reps are getting you strong. It's actually the reverse. You could argue that these reps earlier in the set are the ones that are providing the most stimulus, and you're not taking on a ton of fatigue, so it's a win-win. So do more of these reps and less of these slow, grindy ones, and you'll actually get stronger. Again, point 4, and this kind of leads on nicely, is stop training to failure so much. Yes, failure training comes with like a big stimulus, but it also comes with a huge fatigue cost. And you might think, oh, it's fine, like I can recover from it, but that's why you're stuck benching once or twice a week, and you can't do enough benching throughout the week to get stronger, because the benching you are doing is super heavy and it's really close to failure all the time. Have a think about this for a second logically. Why would you train to failure for a very small increase in stimulus, but a massive increase in fatigue, when you could just do your work at like RPE 7, RPE 8, maybe some RPE 9, you still get a really good stimulus, but you don't get this huge fatigue cost. Like, what is the benefit of going to true failure? There really isn't any. Maybe you want to push true failure like at the end of your training block, like after 3 blocks or something, when you want to hit a PR. But you know from experience that every time you hit failure, it costs you, because for the next week or two, performance is down, you're probably sore, you feel a bit fatigued. So just go heavy enough, like RPE 7, 8, 9, to get that really good stimulus, but don't like empty the tank just because you want to. Like, there's no real benefit to doing so. If you actually stay in this RPE 7, 8, 9 range, then you can actually stack together more successful weeks and months of training. You won't need to deload so often. And by the end of the year, you've done way more productive training and got way stronger. Thing number 5, I think we're on point number 5, is train accessories to target weak points on the bench press. So don't make the mistake of just hammering the regular bench press over and over and over again and expecting to get strong. You need to address some of your weak points as well so that you become really proficient at bench pressing. So if your bar path is terrible, fix it with, like, you can do a long pause bench where you pause on the chest for like a 3 count. It gives you some time to think about like, okay, I'm going to press the bar back. I'm going to keep my elbows stacked under the bar. Or you can do something like a pin bench where you lower the bar down, rest it on the pins, and then it forces you to press the bar back, because if you don't, like, you're going to get stapled on those pins. So don't just hammer the regular bench press. Think like, what's my bottleneck? What's the thing that's holding back my progress? And then go directly target that. So for me, I kept constantly failing heavy bench presses at lockout. Like, literally, I was so explosive off the chest, and then I would always fail like right here when my triceps had to lock out. So I started incorporating some board presses where the top portion of the movement is overloaded a little bit. I started doing some more close grip benches to really grow my triceps. And it's hard to say like how big of an impact it makes, but it's for sure going to be more beneficial than me just hammering the regular bench press over and over again and ignoring like a point in the movement that I consistently fail at. So identify things holding you back in the movement and go target it with accessories. The final tip I'll give you, tip number 6, is train your bodybuilding super hard. Too many of you take the backwards approach. You train the strength work really hard, you don't do your bodybuilding work hard enough. I would recommend scaling the intensity down on your strength work, so stop going to failure, stop trying to force weight on the bar, take that more intelligent approach there. On the bodybuilding, literally like go ham on your bodybuilding accessories. Those things are inherently less stressful, like chest press machine, dumbbell press, tricep pushdowns. They're a lot less systemically fatiguing, than like a heavy barbell bench press. So go ham on those, really try and go close to failure, really try and lift more weight over time. Like, take your chest presses like all the way to failure if you want to, or maybe 1 rep in reserve. and just try and add as much weight as you can and really try and hypertrophy your upper body muscle mass as much as you possibly can, okay? So put a really big focus on progressive overload, trying to lift more weight over time, and proximity to failure. So to maximize muscle growth, you want to be probably at least like 3 or 4 reps close to failure, if not even closer. So maybe start your training blocks like RPE 7 and end them maybe like RPE 9, or push some of the movements all the way to failure. To end this video, quick bonus tip. I would recommend that if you want a 3-plate bench, gain weight. Try and gain weight nice and slowly, half a kilo a month to maximize muscle growth whilst minimizing fat gain. And really just commit to that to the next like 6 to 12 months. Apply all of these principles and I promise you will get closer to a 3-plate bench. If you're still struggling to get there, top link in the description if you want me to coach you there personally. Again, second link if you just want some strength training programs to follow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope the tips here help you to get to a 3-plate bench and save you a bunch of time. I wish I could have had some of this advice when I was on the way to my first 3-plate bench. If you have any questions, comments and stuff like that, post them in the comment section down below. I've got a video here on how to improve your bench press technique, so click to watch that one. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.